Hi, this is Gary Nichols, and I'm chopping it up with my main man, Buck.
Welcome to Chopping It Up with Buck. It is good to have my old high school coach, Gary Nichols. Now, Coach Nick and I go way back, and we're going to have some fun here because we've been talking about getting together. NBA is going on, but you got everything happening. Coach Nick, how you doing today?
Oh, doing great, Buck, man. And see, he's trying to be a little kind. I know him when he was in junior high school. That's when we got together. Yeah, like seventh grade. So yeah. But yeah, doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, Buck. We chop it up all the time. Well, and not as much as we should, but we chop it up all the time, and it's good to get on your show, man. I'm excited.
So yeah, Coach, since junior high school, man, that is crazy.
Yeah.
But to kind of go to your story, you're from Flint. You spent time up in Flint, went to Albion College. Played all the sports. What made you and your wife and family decide to move down to Missouri City? I mean, I remember we talked about it, but it was just at that time. What made you guys decide to take that route?
Well, my dad's originally from Texas. He was born in a small town, Cameron,
Mm-hmm.
and spent a lot of time in Houston and other places. But most of his people settled down in Fort Worth. So every summer, we were in Fort Worth. And then we're down in Cameron, the country. So we did that. And when I got out of school, was gonna do some things athletic wise, but decided, hey man, I'm gonna go get me a job. And I say I'm moving. I'm getting out of the snow, and I think God sent me to Missouri City. It was perfect, ideal. So that's kind of how that happened. And to get me to Fort Bend, I had interviewed when I came down. I interviewed with HISD. Right? I didn't even know about Fort Bend. Yeah. And so my interview, man, I'm in there talking. They had me record me, and I'm just talking away. And I look up, man. The guy's nodding, man. He's just like,
You falling asleep on you?
Yeah, man. And I'm like, oh man. But I'm reading these questions off, and I'm answering the questions, and after the interview, I say, you know what? There's no way. If they offer me a job, man, I'm not coming to this district. I thought that was unprofessional, And a friend told me about the small district, Fort Bend.
Okay.
And I say, oh man, I'm go check them out. And, the rest is history, man.
Well, and going back to your college days, you knew right away you wanted to coach because I mean, when we talk about it, you guys had some great talent in Flint.
Yeah.
Trent Tucker, a bunch of other guys. I know Magic was a little bit before you, or I mean,
Younger. Yeah, he's younger.
He was younger than you. That's right.
Yeah, he was sophomore my senior year. We played him in summertime, man. We had, we were the original Flintstones back then, and we were running things around there, man. We my junior year we were state runner-ups, and my senior year we were rated #1 all year and end up losing in regional finals. But yeah, and everybody always talk about basketball. My best sport was what you did, Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Football, man. That was my best sport, man. If I would have decided to do that, man, it's I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. But, I wouldn't have met you in the seventh grade. I'll put it like that.
Well, what made you decide football over, basketball over football? What was it that was the impetus for you to do that way?
I wanted to go to Michigan State.
Okay.
And so that's where I was going. I played with a guy who ended up going to USC, Dennis Johnson. Okay. He was All-American at USC back in the day. We were going to go to school together. And so we were going to go to state. And the day we were gonna sign, they got put on probation.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, oh, nah, man, we're not going there. You know, can't be on television, you know, no bowl games, you know, all that. And so, you know, it was basketball season. So I say, well, I just decide what the heck I'll do, you know, after the season, man. And I was just having so much fun playing basketball and being in Michigan, you know, we're inside. So it was really cool, you know. But that's kind of what changed my mind, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. You had all that talent up there. And if you talk about football, if you really were more from a DB standpoint, I remember we talked about you could play anything.
Yeah.
Receiver.
Yeah. Receiver. Yeah.
Yeah. So was it Anthony Carter?
Well, I put it like this, man. Some great hands, you know. Let me tell it now. After all these years, I never dropped the ball, you know. But I did, and you know, I had good speed. And my senior year, they moved me to running back because we didn't have a running back, so I played running back. But most of my years, I was receiver, except coming up, you know, I was a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that kind of quarterback that they were looking for, you know. Because you know, if wasn't nobody open, I'm a tuck and go. You know, I probably could have made it in this, you know, in this NFL now, or you know, football the way they play.
Yeah, the way the game has changed. Well, it's interesting when you came down to Missouri City. That was an interesting time for me. My mom and dad had divorced, and I was still trying to find my way. And I can remember you had some of the guys that you knew from Texas, but also some of those guys from up north, and I get to go play in some of those basketball games. And I tell people all the time, basketball is probably what helped me get to the NFL. Yeah. But it's interesting how you have been able, over the course of your career, winning multiple state championships, you know, playing at a high level, having a lot of guys now that have gone to the NBA or in the NFL. What is it that you saw from my perspective, like me, as a young player, and then how do you identify how you're going to help guys get to where they need to get?
Well, my thing is always, especially at that real young age, just first thing, are they disciplined? You know, self-discipline. A lot of young people aren't disciplined. You know, and you had definitely had some discipline. Had a lot of ability. You could see the ability. Had great hands. You were tall. You know, had good size, and I'm thinking, man, look, this is a young man right here, you know. And they're like, Arbuckle. And there was one coach that was there, but he ended up leaving. I'm not gonna say his name, but you know, he was dogging you out, man. You know, oh man, Charles, he ain't gonna do, you know, this and that. And I'm thinking, man, this kid got some ability right here, you know. And I know you know who I'm talking about too.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. So you know, as I say, man, I think God works in great ways, because, you know, he left, you know, and I took his spot, and I had the opportunity to, you know, just try to channel, you know, my thing I saw with you was that you didn't really realize how good you were, you know, and it was my job as being a coach to try to get that out of you, you know. Yeah. And you don't beat it out nobody, you know. you praise them and you show them, and that's why when we would you know, I'd go play with my guys that I played with in the pro-am and stuff, we would you know, I'd bring you along as an 8th grader, you know, and you know, them guys were like, man, he in the 8th grade? Oh, okay. You know, and it built that confidence. You can see the confidence in you growing, you know, more and more, you know, and you know, you did what you needed to do. I just tried to light that spark, man.
Well, and I think, you know, playing against older guys, I mean, they wouldn't let me get away with anything. And I mean, I'm grateful for that, but I also know that was the thing that I could tell the change as I started getting more physical and not being afraid. They were like, oh, okay. You know.
You were holding your own, man. There ain't no doubt about it, you know. Yeah. And wasn't crying. You know, most guys get to crying about, oh man, you fouled. No, you were in there. They were banging you around, man, and you were taking it and trying to dish it back as best you could at that point. And
So talk a little bit about your career as I left, and then the basketball piece for you guys at Willow Ridge and Marshall. I mean, you've had a storied career over the course of your high school career. Could have left and gone to college at the college level, but
Yeah,
you decided to stay. Tell us a little bit about
yeah,
what that was
numerous
like
times.
for you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, man, I family first, you know.
Hmm.
That's always me, man. You know, God, family, you know, and then everything else, you know. And man, I wanted to make sure I had a lot of friends that were in the colleges, and they be somewhere for a couple years, they're gone, you know, and they just move and be in transit. And I really didn't want that, you know. I want some people enjoy that type of life, but I didn't, you know, and I wanted to have some stability. And so, you know, I just kind of stayed at the high school level, love the grassroots. You know, it's great to see people, you know, like yourself, uh, you know, little seventh grader coming out here, man, don't know, you know, which shoe to tie up first, and you know, end up,
Yeah,
you know, playing in the NFL, you know, and saying thanks, coach, you know, appreciate you. You know, for me, man, that's been the thing that has kept me in it, you know. And I've had a lot of guys that went on and played, like you said, in the NFL, and some professional, well, a lot of professional, some NBA, but a whole lot of overseas, you know. And just man, just thankful that you know, the parents believed in me and allowed me to do what I wanted to do my way. And
yeah.
I think that in the young men accepted the challenges, and you know, we've had a lot of success, man. And I
Yeah.
owe it all to you guys, man. You know.
Well, and we also have to talk about this. I know you and I were talking not too long ago. Coach Narcisse, who was there before you got to Willow Ridge. Let's face it, Fort Bend County was made up of preschools, Dulles, Clements, and then we were kind of the outlier, Willow Ridge. So
Right.
I don't know if we always got the best of everything, but you developed a quick bond with Coach Narcisse, who probably should have been our head coach at some point there. Tell us a little bit about that and your relationship with Coach Narcisse.
Okay. Well, you know, East Fort Bend County was not. They didn't like us over there, you know, very much, and you know, we ran into a whole lot of racism and different things like that, and you know, we persevered. But Coach North Belton North, man, we, you know, when I got there, you know, he's one of the guys that kind of pulled me in, kind of talked to me, kind of helped me along the way, you know, some things to be prepared. He never told me, hey, man, this is going to go on. He just said, these are some things that you need to be prepared for. And I always say he's a big reason why I became the first Black head coach
Mm-hmm.
in a major sport in
And
Fort
Fort
Bend
Bend,
County.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know, because he had a lawsuit against the district,
Yeah.
and you know, they called me, you know, that's when I was just getting a job, you know, the head job. So they were gonna try to make me uh, go against what Coach Narcisse was saying, you know, and I didn't do it. I mean, I was just real, you know.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever been in court, man. I was nervous, man. I was more nervous than playing any game, man, I ever played, man. I'm sitting up there, man, you know, thinking about Perry Mason and stuff, man. They gonna make me say something I don't want to say, you know. And but uh, but yeah, he was very instrumental in that, man. And we talked all the time. He, after the trial, you know, he was like, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you, thank you. You're one of the guys that told the truth, you know." And he always appreciate that. I saw him about a month ago, man. You know, we're all getting a little older.
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked real good. We sat down, talked for a while, and you know, he's doing well.
So going back to, you know, when you were in high school, who were your biggest influences from a coaching standpoint? I know you were close to your dad and
Right.
your brothers and other family, but who as a coach gave you that understanding of how to tap into the potential that guys have.
Yeah, the first guy, man, that always come to mind, Arthur Gibson. They call him Be True. He went to Grambling and played football. He played in the league back. He played with the Broncos for a little while, had some injuries, but he came to Flint. Man, Big Gip, that's what we call him, man. Coach Gip, he was, oh man, a big influence, big influence on me, man. He kind of took me in, although I had both of my parents, he still kind of took me in, took me out, showed me stuff. And I guess he saw some stuff in me that, I didn't see in myself. And yeah, he was great. Oh man, I can't even describe how much he meant to me, my years. My high school coach, Grover Kirkland.
Okay.
Oh man, just yeah, that will to win. He instilled that in us. We were winners growing up, always won, majority of the time. But he, that hard work, that all that running we did, that was because of him. His son's the NBA ref.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Courtney Kirkland.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called the game last night. I was wondering, I said, man, when is Courtney gonna call any of the finals? Yeah, he called last night. But yeah, I remember when he was born. But yeah, so he was a big influence on me as well, and I mean, I can go on Hardin Thomas, Jelly Thomas. He went to Alabama State. And a lot of those guys came from HBCUs, came there, and I mean, they were just instilling that pride into us to, just to work hard, man, and do the best all the time you can.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, when you get selected to the Greater Flint African American Sports Hall of Fame, part of it is because of what were able to do from a coaching perspective, right? Pay those guys back in that regard.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That was an honor. I'll say this, I don't brag too much, but I'm probably, if you go back to guys back in the day, they'll say probably I have to be in the top 5 of the best all around athletes, because I played 4 sports,
Okay.
and I was really good in all of them. And so I had a good career, it was fun. But the thing with me was always, man, I just enjoyed competing.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I enjoyed competing, whatever it was. I just wanted to compete. I love it, man. And just getting into a Hall of Fame. I never played anything to be recognized like that. Into a Hall of Fame, it's definitely an honor. But I'm just hanging in there, Charles, trying to keep it going.
So talk. I mean, and this is what's interesting. I always tell people, we were really good in football, but I started playing basketball at Willow Ridge and varsity. And we had a really good team my sophomore year. Then after that, I really started focusing on football. When did you know Willow Ridge had the chance to win a state championship? Because we got close against Port Arthur, Lincoln.
Right. Yes.
And ended up not winning that game. And I think, we were set for a really nice run if we could have got past them. But when did you know you had the talent level and the guys that could to play at that high level and win state?
Well, just the area we were in, we were, I mean, Mo City right now, that little area there, man, athletes galore, man. We were cutting people that, could play, that would go and play other places, and, we coached a little different back then, a guy with bad attitude, we wouldn't even keep him around,
Okay.
We'd just be like, man, get on out of here. We ain't got time for that, because we got all these guys that's taking care of business, and we're not going to lose a step. But just always, I thought it was a great pipeline of athletes. Guys were student athletes, majority of them. You guys, were good athletes. And then let me tell y'all, man, Buck could hoop. I want y'all to know, man. He had a good hoop game too, man. So don't let him fool you. But yeah, so just trying to keep those guys together. And that's the thing that I think helped us, because most of those guys stayed in most cities. They didn't go off. You had a few that went to the private schools or, went somewhere else, but the majority of them stayed right there, and they've been playing together since they were little. So I think that helped as well.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on Chopping It Up with Buck.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Join us each week and a new celebrity guest on Chopping It Up with Buck. Brought to you by Thin Energy. ThinEnergy.com.
All right. Well, we're back Chopping It Up with Buck. I wanted to get back into a little bit of that coaching. You've been around a lot of great coaches, but from a college perspective, who would you have compared yourself to in your style? That you really kind of molded yourself after for your guys.
Yeah, a little Nolan Richardson.
I was gonna say say that if you didn't say
that. Yeah, Nolan. I enjoyed Nolan, man. We have a drill that a conditioning drill that we call hands. Yeah. And I got some of it from him. He did a little different. I just kind of tweaked it, but I like that, man. I like the concept of why he did it, and that's the thing. When you do something, you always want to know why people are doing it. Why are you doing it just to do it?
So kind of describe it. I think I know what you're talking about, but just for everybody, how is it designed?
Yeah, well, Nolan's, the way he ran it, they would run laps with their hands above their head.
Oh yeah.
And they would run laps. They'd go forward and backwards. Well, we ran baseline, free throw line, baseline, inline, back, and we did that 3 times with your hands up, timed. Yeah. And if those hands came below your head, no good, and guys, man, we talk about guys talk about those things, but Nolan was definitely, and that's not the only reason I loved his 40 Minutes of Hell, because we pressed a lot, and so I would watch that, watch John Thompson at Georgetown, some of his teams. He used to, in the early years, he did a lot of pressure kind of things.
Well, I mean, it's funny you say that, because I remember the only time you would ever get upset with anybody is they weren't giving effort. Like, you say, hey, I need you to go hard. Yeah. And the minute you get tired, let me know. I'm going to get you back in. Yeah. And I think that's when I coached my son and his little guys, I said the same thing. We're going to press and we're going to get after it. Because offense, what I always remember is, your best offense is going to come off of defense.
Right, man. We probably had about 3 plays, man, 3 sets where, if we need to get the ball to somebody, but everything else, man, more of a motion type offense, pass, read and react, kind of thing. Because I didn't want people to be thinking too much. I want them reacting and playing, and playing hard. That's the bottom line. Just play hard, man.
Well, you and I talked about this too before. There's some coaches that coach every possession down. That wasn't you. Now you could coach every possession, but why didn't you do that route like so many other coaches did, which I hated, by the way. But
one of my old coaches told me when back in the day, said, if you gotta stand up and direct all game, you didn't do nothing during the week, in practice. Yeah. He said that's where you do all your true coaching. And get people. That's why I was so hard on our point guards, and me being a point guard, my coaches were hard on me.
Like Larry Brown and some of the other guys. Yeah. Lucas, even Doc Rivers now, he was a former point guard.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to have a point guard out there that is the extension of you. And so, my thing has always been during game time, all I'm pretty much doing, I should be doing if I did my job, is managing. managing situations, making adjustments, and things like that. So yeah, I don't, I was tired, man. Come Friday, man. We had a game on Tuesday. We got to play Friday. Man, I don't want to be standing up, sweating more than you guys are. Yeah.
Well, when you look at not just the NBA game, but the college game, what has changed from when you coached it? Now you've watched these guys move on. What has changed in the pro game, the college game, the high school game, even AAU circuit?
Mm-hmm. We've gotten away from America basketball, and we've kind of went more European basketball, international basketball, should I say, not just European, but international. And that's why you see a lot of the international players are being successful, because we are playing how they used to play. Everything, there's no more post players, going down, posting up very much. Everything's perimeter. You've got 6'10" guys, just don't go inside. That was unheard of. Guys like Brad Sellers. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, big tall guy, man, could shoot, but everybody called him weak because he wouldn't go down. You know what I'm saying? But he was a good player. Yeah. And so, he'd be great in this NBA. But I think that's how what we're at now. You've got to be able to shoot. You got to be able to shoot jumpers.
Yeah. So from that 1994 state championship team, tell me about that run at the end and how close you guys are still connected for that 94 Willow Ridge state championship team.
Man, great team, man. I never say it was my best team. They were the one that got it done, okay. And they were so close. They did things after school together. They were, we averaged about, probably almost close to 90 points a game.
Wow.
And my leading scorer was Ansu Cisse, who went on to Ole Miss and SEC Player of the Year and played in the league and the NBA, played for Seattle back in the day, and Dallas and Golden State for a while. He was my leading scorer at like 11.8.
So everybody scored.
Yes, everybody scored, man. Everybody got a piece of that action. And, they were just a good group, man. Played so hard in practice, man. The other day, one of the younger guys was up to the center that I'm at, and he was talking about, man, I remember watching them guys at practice. I'm like, God dang, these dudes, man, playing like this a real game. And, they got after it, and then it just translated, to a championship.
Yeah. And in 2017, your team at Marshall got to the end, and I was listening to that game. Tell me a little bit about that team and what made them special. I know they were runners up, but y'all had a heck of a run.
Yeah, man, struggled through the year. Yeah, because we had a lot of guys missing for different reasons, and just still was a good group, and they would end up we got everybody right at the right time, toward the end of the year. Everybody was there. We didn't have any eligibility problems, didn't have any injury problems, no discipline problems, and had Jabari Rice, who just had a great run for Texas this year. Taz Sherman, who had a great career at West Virginia. And John Walker just finished up at he went to A&M and then transferred to Texas Southern, and he just had a good year. Had them in the tournament for years. So those were my three core guys, and it was just man, great run, man. We just and anytime we lose, I blame myself. I always say that was my fault. Although you got somebody, as I always say, you got somebody that that usually scores about 8 to 10 points, man. You look at the box score, they got 0 or 1 point, you know. But I always say it's all my fault, you know, because I didn't have them prepared. You know, I always look at it like that. When we win, they did a great job. You know, when we lose, what could I have done, you know, to get it right? But it was fun. And I just want to touch on the '94 team again real quickly.
Yeah.
Had a great point guard. You know, Paco Redmond, man. He was with me since a sophomore. Man, he was that was my guy, man. I used to ride him like a horse, man. And you know, but it paid off. Great skills. Ran the show for us. Jason Williams. Jason, and this is a story that happened. That's what makes it even extra special. Jason Williams, one of my top players, Division I player, went to Tulsa after the regional finals. He got shot.
Oh, wow.
And almost didn't make it.
Okay.
And so now our dynamic, we get ready to go to the state finals with one of our top players out, you know, and he might not live. You know, that's more than not having him. You know, he might not make it. So that was something that, you know, I had to gather the troops and try to, you know, keep them focused on what we did, you know, and we went down there. We just, you know, went down there, just inserted another guy in there, and you know, we kept the thing going. But yeah, them guys, man, that was a great group of guys.
One last question on that. Who, like Anthony Young, who I played with, have you ever seen a shooter as smooth of a stroke as AY?
AY was cold, man. He reminded me a little bit of Iceman, you know, smooth, little long, you know, just cruising along, don't look like he going anywhere, getting by guys, man, making different tough little shots, man, could shoot that thing. I had a friend of mine come watch him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played at Rice in some tournament or some game. I was like, man, you need to watch this dude, man. He's to me, he's one of the best players in the city.
Yeah.
And he said, man, why people ain't talking about him? And he said,
well, because it was funny because Sean Gay, who was at Madison, and that Madison team was stacked. But he and Sean, they went toe to toe almost every time we played them, or even in the playgrounds, because we all grew up in that area. We would see those guys, and it's true. I would always be amazed that not many people knew AY, and he wasn't being recruited like he should have been.
Now he had some academic issues, you know, academic issues, you know, but he was, man, good, you know, great personality, man. But he could play, man. He could play.
So, Coach, we're gonna get you out of here in the 2-minute drill. We always do it at the very end of the show, just kind of like, you're gonna score. I always tell people that, but it's marching it down the field, your old quarterback days. So when you were a quarterback back in the day, what did you like to throw? A 9, or did you like to throw the corner out?
Yeah, man, I actually like to throw the 9, man. And I also like the 7, man. Back in the day, we call that 7, you know, that little post. Yeah, man. So I used to like to throw that too, man.
So now when you think about, you said 4 sports. Now, you didn't even talk about track and field, which you had a hell of a career. Did you like track and field better than any of the other ones? I know outside of basketball.
I hated to run, man. But I knew running was great for me, you know, for other sports. But
that's why you punished us to run all the time.
Yeah, man. I was a 200 guy, you know, in high school, 21-3 type, you know, running up in that way, and the long jumper, you know, and yeah, man. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun, you know. Ran some in college, and I just got tired of it, you know. But you know, if I look at the sports, I would say in this order: football, baseball, basketball, track.
Okay.
that was the order, you know, because I was a catcher in baseball, man. Until I kept getting them foul tips, man. So I got away from that, man. I said, I'm out. And I started playing first base.
Take your hands up,
Oh, man, hands, knees, hurting, all
everything. Yeah. So if you think, when you want, is it fish or chicken? Which one, or steak or fish? I'm sorry.
Well, back in the day, it used to be steak. It's fish easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Everybody, it's funny when you ask people that still want some good beef every now and then, but they cut it out so much. And, I think being in Texas, it's everywhere.
Yeah, my wife and I had one about 2 weeks ago, man. That's like the best steak I ever had, man, because I hadn't had one in so long. Yeah. It was good, but yeah, got to be that fish, man.
Music wise, I know you probably jazz or old school R&B.
Ooh, depend on my mood.
Okay.
I love jazz, but I love some singing, man. Earth, Wind and Fire, man, my favorite group. I mean, in the world. When I'm cutting my grass, man, and I don't really want to cut it, I throw some Earth, Wind and put some fire on, man. I'm good. It takes me through there.
Who would you want to have dinner with if you could now? Somebody that's either alive or that has passed that you wish you could still sit down and break some bread with?
Somebody, I'm gonna say somebody that I would have never met. I probably would say Malcolm X.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. What would you want to learn from him or know or better understand about Malcolm?
Just his transformation. How did he? Because you really can't motivate people. People motivate themselves. You can say words, but how did he say those words to motivate people? Then on the other hand, those words were so detrimental to him as well as other people. And he was basically telling the truth. So he just I always think guys like that are fascinating to me, man. It's to step out like that, that on that Martin Luther King, guys that step out there, that really step out there.
Okay. Well, Coach, it's been good having you on, man. We'll have to do it again, especially to talk some more ball, especially basketball, but football too.
Yeah, man. Y'all keep taking me out that football, man. But every time I go home, guys be shaking their head, man. You should have played football.
Isn't that something? When you go home, they're gonna always tell you what you didn't do.
Exactly. I got a family, man. Got a good house, man. Good family. I'm okay.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on and joining us, man.
Oh, man. Thank you a lot, Buck. And I appreciate you, man.